Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I would like to welcome you to another episode of PuffCast. It does not matter where in the world you are. We can come together and share the common goal of watching Puffer play some games and then, laughing at him if you feel like that's something you want to do. So, here we are in our first game. We're going to watch him go a little bit. I never really like to talk much at the beginning of the game because it's just a lot of droning. But we can scout out and introduce his opponent. Car. Is that his name? Car? Ithkur? I don't know. I don't have anything funny to say about that. I'm sorry. I know that I've failed everybody. But he is building a supply depot, so obviously this guy is nothing to be reckoned with. The Buffers are our popular Zerg player. He's up to 13 drones, and he's just started to build a gas, which is something special indeed, because that's a very early gas. He hasn't built a spawning pool yet, and we're coming up to 2 minutes, which is about when you want to drop it. But with gas going, there's the pool, drops it at 14. So is this a 14-14? Look more like a 12-14 or a 13-14, but we'll see. It does look as though we're going to see some early aggression out of our Zerg friend. Meanwhile, back in the Borderlands, we've got an SCV scout from Iker coming up. Doesn't do much with the scout, decides not to go up the ramp and just do a little bit of patrolling instead. Meanwhile, Puff is getting massive amounts of gas, already up to 50, so he'll be able to start speed very soon. In fact, that must be a 14-14 because it looks like that's going to pop right when he gets to 100 gas, so it looks like that's looking good. Meanwhile, we've got some Overlord scouting, and we have one Marine coming, so actually I don't know what to say. Oh, we've got a supply depot drop down here. Very interesting, but he's going to lose the SCV, doesn't micro very well, and doesn't get a lot of health on that supply depot, so he'll be able to take that up pretty easily. Not really a big deal. Building another supply depot back at home, but now we are 3 minutes into the game, 3.5 minutes into the game, and really just not as many workers for Terran, not very many for Zerg either, although he's taken a second gas and dropped a Roach Warren and has not started speed. So it looks like just a really early Roach play, which is a little bit out of the ordinary for our Zerg friend. He does like the turtle, but I don't see a lot of Roach play out of him. Second barracks goes down, and meanwhile the first barracks is putting on a reactor. So just a one base play. He does seem to be continuing to build SCVs, but does not have a lot of saturation going on. Our Zerg friend has a lot more. Looks like has a lot more in terms of economy, even though the harvester count seems to be pretty similar. I guess maybe that's one of the drawbacks of Terran having to use their SCVs as builders also. A couple Zerglings up here patrolling, looking for the the expansion point, which is great. I like to see that good map control. We've got another SCV coming and looking around here. He sees that there's no expansion, which is curious. That was good defense, good misdirection on the part of our Zerg for taking out that. Oh, that SCV might have seen what was going on. Definitely saw the Roach Warren and obviously saw the Roaches attacking him. But didn't get in there. Saw the first gas. I don't know if he saw the second gas. Yeah, go all in. I guess so. He's saying he thinks it's an all in, which does look pretty suspicious at this point. I must agree. Although the fact that Terran hasn't taken he is building a command center, but he hasn't taken a second is good to know. This Widow Mine, two Widow Mines coming out now, so it's not going to be a Reaper play, it's going to be Widow Mines and maybe Marines, although only one Marine's been built, and looks like that barracks might have been sitting there not doing anything. Terran having some minerals with which to work, but I guess just relying on Widow Mines for defense. Built this bunker up front and is building a second factory now, so all mech all day from Terran, is that what we're looking at here? Anyway, another planetary fortress that looks like is coming in, and maybe it would probably be an orbital command, not a planetary fortress. I think that would be a really bad place to put a planetary fortress, but that's the sort of thing I'd like to see a Zerg. Now, hopefully he gets a lair coming. His lair's already up, so that's good. And we want to see him being able to identify these, because with this little amount of roaches and zerglings, these widow mines are going to be devastating. But if you can get an overlord over there, in fact, this would be a great overlord to turn. I'd like to see him do that pretty quickly. But it looks like he's going out to take another expansion. I guess it's about time. He does have saturation up on his main. Could use another drone in gas and another drone on the mineral line, but not too big of a deal. This drone down here is just doing a little happy dance back and forth. Maybe he's waiting for the minerals to... No, there he goes. Drops the expansion. Oh, well, Puffer's now noticed that there are widow mines at the front of the entrance. So that's the sort of thing that he should avoid. That roach almost dying. I don't know. That's a good use of a Zergling, but he should have just run up the ramp and taken them all out. He would have been able to maybe make a push then. But getting a couple more Zerglings up there would be important. It is interesting. Oh, I hear something happening. Okay, good. He is morphing that Overlord into an Overseer, which is good. Oh, and he's got a burrow play, which is fucking wonderful. Oh, I love to see that. He takes advantage of the fact that the supply depot's down and that he's not pushing out. He's trying to build up a bunch of roaches, but Icar does not at all see this coming. With no turrets and no sort of detection, this could be a really bad play. And in fact, Puffer jumps up with just a handful of roaches. It looks like 6 or 7 right there and does a lot of damage. Already taken out a lot of... Sweet! Sorry, I got caught up in the action. Puffer already taking out a lot of harvesters and a lot of workers and really being able to avoid the widow mines. Now that tanks are out on the board, that's a pretty good deal, but these roaches are just impervious to these Hellions. Trying to take out... I don't understand why he's not raising his orbital command. He's got plenty of energy and he's not really doing any mining. There you go. There's the scan. He needs a scan. He's got plenty of energy for scans, but as soon as Puffer runs around the side, and this is great because this is causing him to spend all sorts of time and effort taking care of these roaches, using the scans to find them, which is huge, and still not being able to harvest any minerals during this time. So while Puffer's built up a big bank and really still just keeping up with the army, he's managing to take an expansion behind this and build up a huge amount of harvesters. So Puffer looks like he's going in, staying in for the kill. Doesn't quite manage to get the tank, but he comes around with the backside from the tank. The tank's getting repaired, and he's still going to live because he's not going to be able to take out the tank while it's being repaired. Although that tank, just the one thing that he's got, he might be able to come get this tank. He's got a couple of Zerglings down here, which is good. In the meantime, Icar has tried to take this expansion, but it is really very unprotected. He doesn't have any widow mines down there, and with just one tank to do the business, it's not going to go very well for him. Meanwhile, Puffer does another little run by trying to take care of the tank, but it's really not going to work with all those SCVs around to repair it. So it's just sitting there trying to repair. It doesn't look like Icar's going to spend any more scans trying to take care of 2 roaches that he seems to be holding off. But you do see that Icar's got some idle drones sitting by. He's got 3 idle drones. Idle SCVs just sitting there not doing anything. Probably on repair detail. But you will never know. I have a feeling that this game's going to be over pretty soon. I don't exactly know what he thinks is going to be able to happen here. But he does get some defense set up. He's got 3 widow mines down here, and the tank is in siege mode, which is good. Meanwhile, this still does not have detection up, which you'd think you'd probably build some detection, but that tank's going to go down. The widow mines are going to go off and do a lot of damage, but since they're just one-shots, they're not going to be able to do a whole lot continually. And now, yeah, you better get those roaches out of there before those widow mines go back off. He does leave one burrowed roach right underneath the orbital command, so he can't do any further mining from that base with any sort of efficacy. These other 2 roaches down here, I guess, are still trying to harass and do some stuff. Meanwhile, this Terran Icar is just stuck in his base, can't get out, can't get up anything to go out and do any sort of offense. Meanwhile, Puffer's taking a third. He's half saturated his second, building a couple Overseers and Aspire. So I can't see how this is going to go bad for him at all. Continuing to tech up, still not taking that whole gas, but has taken his last 2 gases on his natural and his main, and it looks like he's just pushing with these roaches and is taking them out anyway. So it's not going to make any difference. I like he's trying to do a little bit of micro there, but the Terran guy giving Puffer a compliment, calling him a noob afterwards. Yeah, way to go, noob. Well done indeed. So good job, Puffer. That was a really fun match. I like the tactics you used, and you really stuck it to them. And I guess that's a really good way to take advantage. I guess that's a really good way to take advantage of a mech player who, I mean, I guess if he had detection up, that would have been helpful for him, and he would have been able to deal with it a little more effectively. But since he didn't, that was just kind of the end of it. And since he was trying to go tech, he didn't have a lot to deal with that. I mean, he had this bunker full of Marines here, but I mean, he never pulled them out. He didn't flex anything, and in fact, they were pretty useless because of the burrowed roaches sneaking through the supply depot. It didn't seem to make any difference. So, anyway, another good game, Puffer. Thank you very much to anyone who is watching. I appreciate the support, and I hope everybody has a good day. Thank you very much. Goodbye.